Welcome to this exciting video on how to conducting assessments for dummies, part 1. This guide will be very helpful for first-timers or people who completed the course years ago. My name is David, and I'm a virtual computerized trainer of Train You Can, an accredited training network. In this video we going to look at the basic guidelines for completing assessments. I also recommend that you look at our video clips on SOCWay, NQF, credits and unit standards before watching this video. You must complete the required unit standard 115753, conduct assessments that is approved by the ETDP, CETA. No other unit standard or CETA's accreditation is valid. Before we can start, must we understand the difference between traditional and OBE learning, also known as Common Core. Now OBE learning stands for outcome-based education in South Africa, in other countries referred to as Common Core education. Example of traditional education, our cashier, Zanili completed her test and achieved 95% on her test. The 5% she missed was on credit card transactions, but 95% overall is still enough to issue her with a certificate. Zanili was very pleased with her certificate, and on her first day on the till she was short, including the second and third day. Eventually she lost her job, because every day she was short with cashing up. Question: do you think that this traditional form of education helped Zanili? No, not at all. That's why OBE, also known as outcome-based education, was introduced. Outcome-based education in short means that she had to get 100% for all her test. In other words, she had to fully understand all the aspects of the job or task. Her learning was not only based in the classroom, but also in the workplace. We refer to the 30-70ths principle, where 30% of her learning was supposed to be in the classroom and self-learning, and 70% practicing on the till in her workplace with someone else. So, with OBE learning, you must have 100% knowledge and understanding on how to perform the job or task. With OBE, a learner can only be found competent, or not yet competent. There is no gray areas, 95% or any other method of evaluation, except 100% fully knowledge and understanding. So if you score 99%, you're not yet competent. NQF levels. The National Qualifications Framework, NQF, is a framework on which standards and qualifications, agreed to by education and training stakeholders throughout South Africa, are registered. There are currently 8 NQF levels, starting from 1 as entry level, then NQF 2, that is equal to grade 10 or standard 8 in school, NQF 4, that is equal to grade 12 or matric, NQF 5, and 6, that falls under FET levels, and lastly NQF 7 and 8, for HET levels. Unit standard credits OBE education, required 30% theory and 70% practical workplace experience. In this example we going to look at 1 credit. 1 credit equals to 10 notional hours. If I take 30% of the 10 notional hours for theory including classroom learning, then this mean that the learner had to spend an average of 3 hours on theoretical learning. The remaining 7 hours will be for practical experience, so the learner had to practice this in the workplace for an average of 7 hours before he can be assessed. RPL recognition of prior learning is a process whereby people's prior learning can be formally recognized in terms of registered qualifications and unit standards, regardless of where and how the learning was attained. So in other words, we could say that a cashier who has been doing the job for the past 10 years don't have to be retrained. We only need her to do the assessment in order to get her certificate. She have enough experience behind her name in the workplace. Key principles of assessment. Whenever we refer to the key principles of assessments, we also refer to the following elements: appropriateness, fairness, manageability, time efficient integration into work or learning, validity, direct authenticity, sufficient, systematic, open, and consistent. More details can be found on our website regarding these principles. Assessment types. There are 2 basic assessment types, namely, formative, and summative assessments. Formative assessment is done in the classroom by the facilitator. This is basically to check that the learner understand the learning as they progress through the program. Evidence of these formative assessments should be included in the final assessment process as evidence that the learning was completed. Summative assessment is your final assessment. The assessor will conduct the summative assessment to determine if the learner is competent or not yet competent. So summative assessment is the final assessment process. Assessment process. The assessment process consists out of 6 stages, namely, 1. Plan for assessment. 2. Prepare for assessment. 3. Conduct the assessment. 4. Judgment to find the person competent or not yet competent. 5. Feedback to the learner, and 6. The review of the assessment processes. It is vital important that you remember these 6 processes. Any assessment guide should follow these 6 processes. You should check any assessment guide that you received from new training providers that the documents cover all 6 processes. The CETA will not only keep the training provider responsible for incomplete documents, but could withdraw your decision on the outcome of the learner, and even deregister you as an assessor if the correct process was not followed. I suggest that you take the new assessment guide apart, and check that you can clearly find all 6 processes in the guide. Make up your own documents, but don't sign any documents with your name if any is missing. Thank you for watching my video on Part 1, Conduct Assessments for Dummies. For more information, visit our training website on www.trainucan.coza. Alternatively, you can also watch more of my videos on www.youcantrain.coza. Bye bye.